Welcome to another episode of First Generation Fridays. My name is Dr. Tamika Ellington, and I am the founder, CEO of the First Generation Revolutionaries movement, where the goal is to empower first generation people through networking, professional development, as well as spiritual fulfillment. And so today's topic is imposter syndrome, or in other words, what I like to call first generation mindfuck. This particular topic is really near and dear to me, and I'm sure a lot of you guys have probably faced some form of imposter syndrome. Basically, imposter syndrome is just the idea that we permeate in our own minds about whether or not we are worthy to be in a certain space that we are currently in or that we may want to go into in the future. And so imposter syndrome is a way for us to kind of mentally psych ourselves out. That mental psych out can come from a variety of different things. It can come from our upbringing. If we were brought up to not really have a whole lot of confidence in ourselves or feel a lot of self-worth, that imposter syndrome can kind of sneak in that way. Or say you were in a situation where you were told by others that you weren't worthy to be in a certain space, or maybe you were told by others that you didn't do a good job. That imposter syndrome can also begin to stimulate in your mind that you don't belong in that particular environment, or that you will never be able to advance to another type of career or something because of your lack of self-worth. Imposter syndrome, as I was saying, is something that is in our mind. It's not something that other people do to us. Because of the fact that it's in our mind, we have the power to be able to change our minds. And so my goal today is to get you guys to start thinking about, if I am someone who is suffering through imposter syndrome, which I at one point was, I still am in some instances, it just depends on, what area I'm looking at. Whenever you're thinking about doing something new, that imposter syndrome can creep back up. But because of the fact that imposter syndrome is in our minds, we, meaning myself and you, we have the power to be able to change our mind. We can reprogram our mind. We can get out of that first generation mindfuck. The reason why I call it that is because people who have imposter syndrome really span the spectrum. Anybody really, men, women, no matter what your race is, or no matter where you come from, everybody has felt at some time some form of imposter syndrome. However, research talks about the fact that people who are underrepresented typically suffer even greater from imposter syndrome. And so a lot of times that will, of course, include my first generation family. We are most of the time brought up in situations where we're not given the confidence that we need to be able to go to college or to be able to get that career that we want. Or even I just think about back in the day when I was in the process of interviewing for jobs for the first time, and how much of an imposter I felt because I'd never seen the corporate space before. I came from a poor background. Nobody that I knew worked in the corporate space. And so going into that space and interviewing, I felt like I didn't belong there. And so that was eventually something that I had to get over. But imposter syndrome is in our mind. We have the power to change it. And one of the ways that we can go about doing that is by listening or reading motivational books. We're really lucky nowadays. We have audible books that you can listen to. We have paper books. Most people nowadays don't really like to use paper books, but I am a strong advocate in paper books. I love to read a book, highlight, turn a dog ear page on it, go back to it if there was something that really stuck out to me. And so we have audible books and we have paper books that can help stimulate our mind to help increase our confidence. We also have YouTube. YouTube has been an enormous resource for me lately. I look at many, many different kinds of motivational speeches from a variety of different people on the speaking sector, as well as celebrities like Oprah. Even Steve Harvey now is doing a motivational piece that he has been putting out for quite some time, which are really good, by the way. But motivational speeches or listening to the empowerment of other people is another way that we can begin to combat that imposter syndrome. Another thing that can help us combat that imposter syndrome is being in a space where we surround ourselves with people who lift us up. If we are constantly in a space where people are telling us we can't, no, we're not good enough, and that kind of thing, then we will continue to feel that imposter syndrome inside. But if you become a part of a group, and I am thankful, I have a wonderful group of women that I am friends with we all lift each other up. We all give each other positive feedback. We are all striving to be better. And if you can put yourself in a group and find friends or family or whomever that you can count on to give you some positive feedback, to of course not give you untruth feedback. If you need some work on some things, that's okay. But people that can help build you up. Get yourself into a space where you're comfortable in the space and the individuals that you have around you are lifting you up. So those are 3 ways that you can combat that imposter syndrome. Looking and reading books or listening to books, listening to motivational speeches, empowerment speeches, and then also to surrounding yourself with a good group of people to help uplift you. And again, my name is Dr. Tamika Ellington. Today's First Generation Fridays was about imposter syndrome. My goal in this life is to inspire and to help you revolutionize your thinking. I thank you for being with me today, and I look forward to talking to you guys again next week. Have a good day. Blessings.